cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off in the fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jay. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, everybody. I had to do this twice. Having a day. Today we're talking about Corey Micciolo and justice for Corey as we approach sentencing on August 2nd. Now, Bree Micciolo sends her love. The family has COVID. However, Rebecca was so kind as to come on. She's actually driving, so I'm going to bring her on here in a minute. I want to say hello to everybody. What's up, Adam, Marilyn? We got Hot Mess, Krista, Mala, Melly, and everybody. And today I have Rebecca. So I'm going to put us side by side here and take you off mute there. Hello, Rebecca. Everybody, if you could say hi to Rebecca. That's you guys remember Rebecca? That is Rebecca Micciolo, Corey's grandma.
Take a slight right turn to merge on.
Everybody says hi. Everyone, hello from Jess. And are you serious? Yeah, Bree is not feeling well, unfortunately. I guess the family's down with COVID or something pretty bad, huh? That's coming back around.
Yeah, they have COVID.
That's too bad. Well, everyone sends their love and thank you for coming on today. Sentencing is approaching, and I'm wondering how things have been going since since we last talked. I see Bree has been really busy with interviews, which is great.
Yeah. Well, nothing changed. Corey's still not here, so.
Right, of course. Any laws are in the works? Any anything that you guys are working on? Maybe.
I think Bree is in the works with someone. I don't know who. For Corey's law or something. I'm not involved in it, so I don't know much about it. And that's it for now. I mean, we're just kind of waiting for sentencing, and then I don't know what happens from there.
Right. And I'm. Where are you traveling to right now? Can you remind me? I know
I'm going back home to New Jersey. It was in North Carolina. In I think Delaware now, so I'm almost home.
Well, everybody gives you big hugs, and again, I think you said the realest thing that you could have ever said was that Corey's still not here.
Right.
And I was looking at the Justice for Corey page, and when I'm done talking to you, I won't keep you too long, but looking at the Justice for Corey page, and there's 19,000 people on there, and after sentencing or after the guilt phase, everybody was starting to realize that they made a mistake, a huge mistake with Christopher Gregor. It's too bad they waited so long, so.
Yeah.
What about you? How are you doing? You have other grandbabies. Is that correct?
I have one granddaughter and Corey. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Are you getting any kind of, what have you been doing? Are you coping with it? Therapy, anything?
Oh, yeah. I have a psychiatrist. I have a therapist. I have medication. I didn't have any of this before this happened. Chris really did a number on me. Got to give him credit.
He did. Well, we all want to send our love to you, and everyone will be watching. We're going to have somebody at the court, boots on the ground. I'm assuming you'll be there for sentencing as well. Is that an assumption? Now, are you going to be able to say anything when you get there? Or okay.
Yes, we met with the prosecutor on Friday before I left for my trip. Bree and I had a meeting, and we both were able to talk about our impact statements that we're going to read in court. So,
So
um,
hopefully, yeah, hopefully the judge is, hears you loud and clear and understands that a lot of mistakes were made. I mean,
well, I think he's already heard everyone loud and clear, but the law is the law, and Chris has not been convicted of any crimes in the past. So I think he'll be walking out of there in about 20 years, if we're lucky.
oh,
Maybe 20.
I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
I'm
that's
it's
not good.
I mean, I always like to hear the truth and I like people to hear it. And as I read these articles, it says 30 years, but then also the endangerment charge. And so people are hoping 30 plus 10, but being real, you don't
He's
think
not
so.
going to get the maximum because he's been such an altar boy all along, you know? He's never gotten convicted of anything, always got away with it. So why should this be any different? Can you
Yeah.
tell him a little bitter?
I
Sorry,
can, I can.
I
And it's
can't help
okay.
it.
I
I
mean,
stay this way.
I'm, yeah, I mean the real rawness of the situation. You're making me a little. I mean, I'm sad for your family. I pray for your family, and yeah,
Yeah.
Rosie says 20 years. I'm. That's the real
Don't
reality
hold
of the
me to
justice
that.
system.
That's just my thought. I don't think it's going to be 30. I just
Right.
don't see it. And I'm just trying to be real. So when it happens, I'm not disappointed. I'm setting myself
Yeah.
up for less
Right.
than and hoping for more. But, like I said, there's some kind of, I don't know what you would call it within the legal or justice system. It's almost like a scale or something. And they rate you on, have you been in trouble before, and different things.
Right.
And, I know he has a lovely past, but like I said, he's never been convicted of a crime.
Right.
So they're going to take that into consideration.
Yeah,
So,
and absolutely, that's it's the real justice systems, folks. It's how it works, and yeah, I mean,
yep,
we're here to support you. I've told Bree that you be angry, be real, get it out. Whatever you have to do. Hopefully, you can heal at some point, and
yeah,
it's like poisoning. That saying about poisoning yourself when you're trying to hurt somebody else.
yeah.
It's that, and I know I'm not
Oh,
telling you
yeah.
anything new, but if you were my
Yeah.
mom, I would say the same thing.
I'm
You
not going to
know,
be that person that gets up in the courtroom and says, I forgive you, Chris. That is never coming out of my mouth. I will
right,
never forgive that monster. If it were up to me, he would get what
right.
he gave Corey, and he would take his last breath scared and alone like Corey did. I have no sympathy for that monster. And I pray daily that something bad happens to him. And I don't care how bad that sounds.
No, it
I
does.
don't
It's.
care.
I was actually going to ask you if you wanted to, if you want to get some of that out and kind of just tell us, did you write an impact statement, or you just want to let?
I wrote
I'd like
it.
to hear what you have to say in a nutshell. If they're watching,
Well,
these people watch this. I'm just curious what you have to say to that, because he is a monster.
I just, pretty much you're not really talking to the monster when you're making the statement. You're pleading with the judge. That's what you're
Right,
doing. So it's not like you're looking at him and saying, oh, Chris, this or that's not what it's about. I wish it was, but it's not. And basically, I just told the judge what happened to me after
right,
this. Breanna, her sister, my
right,
granddaughter. I just said, this man took so much from so many. And, that I just said that, you know, basically, Corey will never get to, you know,
Use the right two lanes.
he was 6 years old and
right.
he didn't get to live. And I don't feel like Chris should, and, I don't want to say too much because then, I will have already given my impact statement if I,
Right. Right. Now,
say
I
word
mean,
for
just
word.
from the bottom of your heart, I just, if his parents were watching, I mean, like that's what I mean. Just like, what
Oh,
would you
don't even get
want to
me
tell
started
him?
on those people. They should have terminated that thing. That's all I can say. That monster should have never been born. And that's what David Gregor said about Corey. Well, you know what, pal? Your son he should have never made it. He should have never been born. He's a monster. And I give them the credit for that because when you cover up your kid's stuff his
No,
whole
you can
life,
cuss. Yeah.
he doesn't learn. So here we are. The crimes got more serious. The things that he was doing got more serious. They knew what was going on in their house. It happened
Yeah.
to another kid that was living in their house. Corey wasn't the first victim. There was
And
another
they
little kid.
created that. Yeah, they
Yep.
created that
They
monster,
covered
and
that one
and
up
I
too.
they sure did. They sure did. And these people do watch these things, and that's why I say, like, hey, you can get it off your chest what you want to say. That's why I wanted Bree on here to just get ready for that.
Yeah.
We don't know half of the stuff that happened or what you went through. We only see what they cut out, what they want to show to put a story together. And so, I mean, did you have a relationship with those people at all, or you just saw them in the fake
Um,
passing? I
oh
don't even
no,
know.
I met them one time. They invited me to their
Huh,
home before their first visit with Corey, when Corey was
right.
5. It was like a job interview, I guess. When they invited me over, they didn't want Bree there, just me, because I guess Bree was just this god awful person. Um, so I went to their house, and I guess I was supposed to be impressed by their big house, but I'd had one in the past too, so didn't impress me
Yeah.
much. I took a
No.
bunch of pictures.
She's cutting out a little bit, folks, and that's okay. She's driving, so
Can you
if
hear
she,
me?
yeah, I can hear you now. So you went to the house. Definitely
Yeah,
not
so I had
impressive.
pictures of Corey, but they weren't really interested. They more just wanted to know, did he have any issues like learning disabilities or handicaps? Were we involved with DCP&P at all? Which I thought was a really weird question, and we were not.
Right.
So I said no. But the reason they asked that question is because Chris at the time had an open DCP&P case because he abused his then girlfriend's son that was living in the Gregor household. And they lied about that one too.
So they're
So
not even going
that's
to
why they were
take that.
interested.
So they're not going to take that into
No,
consideration.
no,
Wow.
nope. It's in my impact statement. I made sure I got anything I could. The
Right.
judge is going to hear the crimes that I know he committed.
Right.
He's not going to rule on those because he wasn't convicted, but he's going to know about it.
Which is good because I know they left things out of the case, of course, like they do. Yeah, I didn't know that either, and so that means that, I mean, he's just, well, a monster, but also a bully. He likes to be in control, and I thought it was Corey. I thought, I think she's this is Rebecca Micciolo, everybody. Bree Micciolo is going to be on today, but they have COVID. So yes, Chris is disgusting, and we have a whole show today. Hopefully Rebecca can come back on, but if not, that means her phone cut out, and she's driving right now. So yeah, sweetie Brookahire, Rebecca, your heart is broken, and Corey will live in your heart and with all of us. And if she drops, oh, there you are. There you are.
Hey, sorry.
Yay. That's
Um,
okay. Yeah, we're just showing our love for you. Yeah, so the impact statement, is Chris gonna be there? Is he gonna hear you at
yes,
all? Oh, he
he
does.
will. He gets to also speak if he chooses to. His attorney will be speaking, the prosecutors, of course. His parents, or maybe his sister, somebody may be allowed to make a statement if the judge allows it, which I'm sure he will because he's not going to want to, you know, step on any toes or whatever. So I'm sure if they want to make a statement, they'll be allowed to make a statement.
And they probably will. Our perfect little boy was, she dropped out. Maybe she'll
Keep his
come back
ass on
on.
at this
There she
point.
is. That's okay. Yeah, they're probably going to say that, but I'm glad that you're gonna be able to bring up about him abusing another child before that. I thought he
Yeah.
was targeted at Corey, but I think he's just a monster and an abuser on all levels.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I don't think he was always treated nicely, and maybe so, that's why he's doing it. I don't know that to be true. I'm just guessing, but I don't know
right,
why else you would do that to your own kid. I mean, not that you should do it to any child, but your own. I don't get that.
right.
But I think he was a bully. He was a bully his whole life. If you call anybody that went to school with him, they're going to tell you that he was not nice. He was always a
Right.
bully. So
And I
it's
and I
just,
feel like he's like the perfect he's a perfect recipe for a bully. And his parents are those parents that are like everything has to be perfect. It has to look perfect. So they had the facade going, in my opinion. And I think what you said, his dad was a little kind of military. He probably did take it out on him, but that's no excuse for any of that. I feel like deep down he's just evil. He's just an evil man, if you want to
he
call him a
didn't,
man.
the problem is he didn't want Corey and he didn't want anybody to know about Corey. So when,
Uh,
everything came out, he had to punish everybody. So he knew by doing things to Corey that it was punishing Bree and it was
right,
punishing, and you know, um, the end result was Corey's no longer here. I don't think he meant to kill Corey. I
right,
think he couldn't control himself. He has a temper. He couldn't
right,
control himself and he went too far. But he should have called an ambulance hours before. He could have
right,
saved him and he chose not to. So that makes him an even bigger monster. He could have
right,
saved him. He didn't want to because then Corey would tell. He would have told what happened to him. So he couldn't save him because then he'd
right.
be in more trouble. He figured. I
And
think
then he was
he should have
trying to
came
run.
clean. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he ran like the little bitch that he is.
Take a slight left
And
turn.
he is a bitch, and I hope that they have him in general population, which, if he gets a lighter sentence, they're just gonna throw him out in general population. And he's a little pretty boy that is a coward towards anybody that's not weaker than him. So, you
Right.
know, justice is served. Karma will catch up with them, or whatever you want to call that. We're all praying for the harshest sentence, but I think you might be right. I think you might be right that the judge is gonna, with the family record and the parents acting like he's an altar boy,
Yep.
you know. Yeah, wow. Can I ask you, and I don't remember, how long did he actually even have Corey in his custody for?
I guess it was probably
Roughly.
on and off about 18 months.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, what wasn't
So
a
he
long
was
time. He was pretty quick with what he did.
but he was, I'm sure, and what Bree says, he was abusing him when he could,
Yeah, from
whenever he
day
had a
one.
chance.
Yep,
Okay.
he was. I mean, I could tell you so many stories. A couple that stick out in my mind. It got to the point where we were picking up and dropping off at the police station for visits. So
Right.
Bree and I had taken Corey to get a haircut, and it was called the fade shop, whatever. They do all those weird lines in your hair and stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
You little
so Corey
boys.
waited patiently to get a haircut, and it looked so nice. And so we were due to drop him with Chris, and you know, Chris would not allow Breanna to be present. Like she was the devil. So it was always me and Breanna's sister Nicole. We would take Corey. So this particular night,
Right.
I dropped him off with Chris and his father at the police station. And when I went to pick Corey up, it was kind of dark. And, he was very sad and he got in the car. And I didn't really see him until I had to go to the grocery store. And we get out of the car and we get in the store and there's bald spots in his hair. And I said, Corey, what happened to your hair? My daddy didn't like it. And I said,
Oh, so
well,
he,
what do you mean? He shaved bald spots in Corey's hair after Corey got a haircut that day. He told Corey that he looked like, I don't want to say this on the air because it's very not nice, but he told Corey that he looked like a certain kind of person and he was going to fix it.
right.
So he shaved
Oh,
bald spots and stuff in his hair. And, you know,
I get
I
what you're
mean,
saying. Yeah, he didn't like the lines or something bothered him.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, he
Yeah,
thought it was ghetto or something, you know, that
yeah,
he didn't
yeah.
like
I hear
that.
you,
So, you know, he took care of
man.
it, did that. I mean, he just did so many things, you know, to Corey, just things that are just so evil, you know, you just, I don't know.
No,
There's a
it is
lot.
evil. There's not a lot of other words, but I do believe evil. But also, I believe he's, a psychopathic, narcissistic. I'm sure clinically you can say a lot of different things about him, and
Yeah.
I'm still sitting here with hope that they do go as max as they can. Um, I do. We're all still hoping for that. So I know you're angry, and you're justified in that. And I wouldn't expect you to say I forgive you, because I don't think any of us forgive him. You know, I
No,
I can see the disdain on your face, and hear it in your voice for him, and I don't blame you one bit. That was your baby, your
I hate
grandson.
him. I have so much hate and it grows every day. It doesn't get easier. I hate him more and more each day. And you know, these people tell you, oh, time heals. No, it doesn't.
No, it
They're
doesn't.
full of it because I'm not improving. I'm not feeling any better. You know,
I
I get,
agree with
like I
you.
said, I get more bitter and more angry each day that passes. I'm mad. I'm pissed off. You know, I feel like the only way I would feel a little bit better is if, like I said earlier, he took his last breath afraid and alone, just like Corey did. And then I might feel 5% better.
Right. I get that. I get that 110%. I understand.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I, yeah, all I can say is, prayers for your family. There's a large community that supports you all. I hope that at some point you find peace in yourself, not with him. Screw him. I hope you feel a little better once he gets locked up, and you don't have to deal with the impact statements at court and whatever. But I mean, you're
Right.
probably going to support Bree, however, right? There's a civil suit. I know Bree's talked about. Are you involved with any of
Yeah.
that, or are you just letting her do it?
No, that.
Her phone's cutting out a little. Remember, she's driving, y'all. And yes, we're talking about Corey Micciolo. Go ahead. I didn't hear that part. The civil suit, is
No,
that something?
that's all Bree. You know, I'm not
Okay,
involved in it, but I mean, I know what's going on, obviously, with it, but
of course.
that's all on her. And
Right.
you know, I'm writing a book, so
Oh,
about
well,
Corey.
if you need help with anything, let me know. I've published my own book and several others. So if you just need any advice or anything, let me know. You
Oh,
probably
thank
have it
you.
covered. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
have. I wrote it. Have a great editor. And we publish our own. So if you don't want to pay someone a ton of money to publish your book and you want advice, just ask. I got you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
because
I feel
people will
like,
get you. Go ahead.
you know, writing the book, the whole story will get out there in this book. You know, the story that didn't come out in court. Um, you know, the story that we can't get out when we do things like this, like coming on your show. We don't get the whole story out there. You know,
Right,
there's not enough
right.
time. So writing this book, everything's, I'm not holding back. Everything's going in this book.
It
And
feels a bit healing as well, and I know you might not think so yet.
yeah, no,
But
I'm not feeling that way yet, but you know, we'll see.
yeah, but
I just,
yeah,
I, you know, like I said, I'm bitter. I can't
and
say
you
it enough.
should be. There were so many things that you when I heard when you two were in the last interview, there's so many things that you didn't know. I mean, you didn't even know that that happened. Your daughter was essayed by this guy, and I'm sure that affected
Yeah,
a lot of things that you didn't even know about.
I know. No.
Um,
I sit and think, wow, what if we knew and what if we did something and then would it have led to this? I mean, you have all those what ifs. We could have done something different, but I don't know. I still think the end result would have been the same. He was pretty determined to, you know, take Brianna's happiness away. And he knew that by doing this to Corey, it was punishing Bri.
right. Well, we're here and we're hoping that he absolutely gets the max. I hope that they do have some pressure on their side, knowing that there's going to be a civil suit. I hope the judge sees that and they take everything into consideration. Um, 20 years sounds way too light, whether he has a past or not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nobody said that exact number, but just
No,
hearing
I know what
everything
you're
that
saying.
I heard, and
I know.
I'm doing the math, and that's what I'm coming up with.
And I hear
Unfortunately,
you.
he's not been convicted of stuff.
So the
That's,
judge, I'm doing the math and being on the positive side of things. If the judge decides to give him the max, he's allowed to give him 30 years and then he's allowed to give him 10 years for the second charge, which is endangerment in New Jersey. He's
right.
allowed to do that if he
Yeah,
wants to. So the maximum
if he
sentence would
chooses
be
to.
40 years if he chooses to. And I don't know that judge. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know his personality. I mean, what did you think about him during the trial? Do you have any, like, just an overview
I
of his person?
Listen. I think the judge was fair, and I think he was cautious, and
Okay,
that's it. I don't have any
fair,
other opinion. I'm just praying.
fair and cautious.
I'm praying that he gives Corey justice. That's what I'm hoping for. And
And me too. Yeah. So everybody's asking when sentencing is. I had it below, guys. I put hit the like button because that's the only way we can get in the algorithm to have Rebecca or Bree or any families on here and help with justice. So August 2nd is sentencing, and let me tell you what he was found guilty, but they're they're sentencing him on aggravated manslaughter and child endangerment of his 6-year-old son. So so that's what the New Jersey law holds is 30 years would be max for the, you know, for the first charge and 10 would be max. If he decides to do that, I don't know.
right.
And I know that's still not enough for you. I know. I understand.
You know what I want. I think I've already said it twice. And if you want me to repeat it again, I think he should be given the same thing he gave Corey. And he should take his last breath alone,
And
scared.
afraid.
And it
Yeah,
should be painful. It should be a couple weeks worth of suffering and then
right.
lights out. That I would get joy from it. I'm sorry to say it. I know it sounds horrible, but I
Now, I
I
think
would be
we're all
okay with that.
hoping for that as well as some prison justice because people like that are pretty boys and cowards and mommy and daddy's feeding them money, they don't do so well in prison.
Right.
So yeah, we definitely want justice for Corey. And I know people that have been in prison and jail, and he's just not going to do that well.
No, because he's going to say the wrong thing to the wrong person, uh, you know, and they're not going to be okay with that unless he's protected, and he could be. Maybe he's going to go to a, like a Martha Stewart prison or something. Who knows?
You know what? You're right. That I don't think so, but I understand what you're saying. He may go
No,
to an
he might.
easy. He might. I don't know what the New Jersey
Because
prison
they
systems
may think they can is it rehabilitate when, yeah,
rehabilitate.
they might, yeah, they might think that they can fix him, because he's so smart. He's got a master's degree. You do know that, right? Have you not heard
Oh
that
yeah,
yet?
yeah. Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
definitely
he can
yeah,
wipe his ass with it. Yeah,
yeah, there's a couple of things
that
about him, and
bastard.
he's like a 2D guy. He's like got two couple things and that's it. Now this is Corey Micciolo's grandmother, Rebecca Micciolo, on the screen, Jamie, and we're talking about as we approach sentencing for Christopher Gregor, and we're very happy that we have her on here. We wanted to hear your side. I would have been happy for you to come on with Bree. Bree has they all have COVID right now, but I just really wanted to hear how you've been doing, what you're feeling up into this point. So I don't think anything's going to make you feel better. Um, right. One
No,
last question. Go ahead. You
I'm
can talk
sorry.
as much.
No,
I was just gonna
I was
end
just
this.
saying, I just get, when you go to the cemetery with, I go with Bree, with my other daughter, with my granddaughter, it's pathetic that that's where Eliana, my granddaughter, goes to see her brother. It's sickening. And that makes me get full of rage again and wish bad
All right.
things on Chris yet again. And, when does that go away? I don't know that it will.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't know.
either. On
I don't have the answer.
maybe it would, yeah, and time isn't the key, but I think maybe just what you end up doing with it. If Corey's law happens, and you're able to get a book out and just tell your story and have groups. That's all. That's only like advice I would have. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wrote a book and it was very healing for me
Right.
in writing my book and telling my story. And I never thought I was even that like really traumatized by some of my issues until I wrote that book. And I feel so much better about it. So you never know what's gonna help. Nicole, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says prayers for you and your family. To you, Rebecca. A
Thank
great
you.
person. You'll get through it. Yeah, keep your head up. We're all praying for you, and we're all
Thank
here.
you.
All the way through. If when you write a book, we'll promote your book out there and make sure
Oh,
people
thank
get to
you.
read that story. Yeah, I mean, we're here for you all the way through. We're not going anywhere. So,
Thank you.
again, you could just text me and say, "Hey, what how do I do this or what?" And I'll direct you. I'd love to help you get your
Right.
story out. It is healing, believe it or
Thank
not.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
We're
it'll
all
be
here.
it's not easy, trying to write because there's so much that happened in such a short time, and
Right.
you want to make sure you get everything, and it's a lot of work. I didn't think it was going to be so tough because I kept saying to Bree, we lived the story. It's not like we're making it up. We know the story. We lived it. How hard can it be to write it? It's not easy.
No,
You know,
it's not
it's
easy. There are people that do help though. Like they have people that are ghost writers, and you could just tell them your
yes,
story like you do, and they'll help you put it together, and then editor, and then we can help you. We don't want you to pay all these fees to get someone to publish it because they take all your money. So
right.
if you need that, you could just ask me, and then I'll tell you how to get it on Amazon, and then from there it can. Yeah, better to self-publish it. Don't let everyone take your money, man.
Right, right.
But I understand. Let's just get you have a lot to say though. I mean, when we talked last time, you went all the way from we started from high school when that happened to
Yes,
Bree to having the baby. I mean,
yes.
you you have a lot of information and you were there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um can I ask you when the last time you talked to Corey were you able to see him in the hospital at all or
The night before he passed away, Bree had him at the hospital, and I took a phone charger there for her. And I had taken some drinks and stuff for Corey, because they'd been there for a while. And he just
right?
kept saying, Gima, they stuck something in my nose. They'd done a COVID test, and he hated that.
Oh,
But
the wheel.
he was in good spirits because he was with Bree, and they were doing TikTok. I think that's what it's called. I'm a little old. You'll have to forgive me, but
It's
I think
okay.
that's what it is, where you do like the little video things, whatever. And they were doing stuff like that, and then the next morning before she returned him to Dickhead, I mean
Yeah, we'll
Chris.
call him that. We'll call him
Um,
Dickhead. That's cool.
you know, um, I said, I had a conversation with him after he had his breakfast, and I said, take my phone with you. And when he starts doing, beating you, call 911. And he said, Gma, I can't. I said, why? And he said, I just can't. And I said, well, can you run downstairs, tell a neighbor? And he said, I can't. This kid knew what was happening. He knew it was going to happen, and he accepted it. He was more of a man at 6 years old than that bastard will ever be. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
That kid was brave, and he accepted what was happening. He knew that Bree tried. We all tried to help him, and he just gave up.
Man.
He knew, the end was near, and then Corey knew it. And that's pathetic. That makes me mad and bitter and angry
Yeah.
all over again when I think about what Corey had to go through.
Me too.
He,
He knew it was happening.
he did.
An old soul is what I can think of. He definitely, it's like he knew and he accepted his fate. And, I man, there's nothing that's going to bring him back, but definitely just getting the word out there and talking about it and bringing awareness so that, whatever has to be done for something like that in the future, people know and say, oh, I heard that before. I see. How can I get in touch or whatever? That's where the network comes in and the communication of people. And I'm sorry that I can't say enough to you about that. I mean, Bree said that, that he knew that was happening, that he was saying, what happens when you die, mom, or something like that. It
Oh
don't,
God.
Martin, or what do you,
I had a conversation with him 5 days before he passed away, and I can't stand repeating it. It's part of my impact letter, though, my statement.
right,
Corey he was at the house, and the only way we could check him out to see if he had any bruises was to have him go in the bathtub or something, because we didn't want to make a big deal of it, because Corey would
right,
get really upset if we pointed something out. So I said, oh, why don't you come in at, Gma's bathroom and take a bubble bath? So I got it ready for him. And when he undressed, the bruises covering, it made me sick.
right. I can't even imagine that.
The most concerning was the lump, the bruise in his chest by his heart. And so, Bree came in the bathroom, we talked about it, and I believe she made a report to DCPMP that night. And Corey got, in my bed to watch TV and stuff. This is our thing that we did, And
Right.
he asked me if God could see what was happening to him.
Oh, so he knew. Obviously, you guys talked to him about God and said your prayers or
Right.
whatever, with
Um,
children. Man,
Numerous times he asked me why his daddy wasn't going to hell, and I told him that he would.
oh man,
I mean, a 6-year-old asking
wow,
why this monster wasn't going to hell. That's he
man,
just, and the conversation went on, as he wanted to know why God wasn't helping him. And I said something I regret saying, and I told him that somebody needed God's help more than him right now.
right, man. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry for you to have to repeat that. I can see you getting a little emotional. Me as well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just doing my best here to try to,
No,
help and
it's,
keep the word out.
again, I get sad, I cry, and then the bitterness and then the anger and, the hopes and prayers that the same thing happens to Fat Bastard. I hope he
Yeah,
suffers. I hope he suffers a long time. And I hope
and so
he
do we.
takes his last breath by himself and very afraid. That's what he deserves, and he should
I
have nothing
agree.
less. I can't help how I feel.
And you know what? And that's okay. If you go through those motions, and I think, you're going to go through them for a long time because that's a
Yeah.
reality. I'm imagining somebody's asking, but I would imagine I'm going to answer for you that Chris has never apologized or ever said anything about even doing it, probably,
No,
right?
you're kidding me, right? No, he
Yeah, I
never.
didn't think so.
No, the last conversation had with him was when he called for the insurance card when he was dropping Corey off at the hospital. Um, because the fat bastard didn't have health insurance for Corey. Bree held the insurance because he was
Oh, man. And how, uh, let's see if you go back on so I can find out how many days after. And thank you all for being here and supporting the channel. Okay, how many, just I won't keep you too much longer. I know you're driving, it's emotional. How much after when he called for the card, how many days later did Corey pass it? Was it in that
hours.
same visit? Oh,
It
it
was
was
hours.
hours.
Yeah. The next thing, we're calling hospitals. We called the police department because we didn't know where he took Corey. We didn't know what was going on. And then the last hospital, we'd called all the hospitals in the area, and I called again one of the local hospitals, thinking, I said to Brie, oh, maybe they didn't register him yet. You know, he could have been there when we called, but you know, it takes a while to register. So I called one of the
Right,
hospitals back that we had called, and somebody put me on the phone with a nurse, I think, and she said, he's here, hold on. So I said
right,
to Bree, he's at that hospital, I'm on hold. And I'm looking out the window, and two cops are coming up to our door. So we're like, why are the cops here? Like, what's going on, you know?
right.
And I just, I remember I'm on hold with the hospital, and Bree opened the front door, and one of the cops turned away from the door and took a phone call. And I later found out that it was the detective from Ocean Township calling him to let him know that we didn't know that Corey had passed away, and they were there to inform us. And I believe he was supposed to put that detective on the phone with Bree. But while the one cop was on the phone with the detective, the other cop said to Bree something like, so how long's your kid been dead, or something?
Oh
And I hung
man.
up the phone. Bree collapsed.
Oh,
I like, he didn't know that we didn't know, or something. And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, she lost it. And,
oh
you know,
no,
and we were like, no, you know, you got the wrong person. We thought they'd made a mistake. You know, we didn't believe it. And,
so that he dropped him off. He wasn't
you
even there.
know,
He just dropped him off and left, right? Didn't
he lingered for a little bit, but Corey,
bastard.
you know, was one of the, yeah, the hospital staff was with Corey when he took his last breath, not
Oh
Chris.
man, I'm
He
sorry.
was on his
I
way to
didn't.
Tennessee, and
Yeah, yeah, he was trying to leave. Yeah, I mean, all the way around, he deserves the maximum, and if he doesn't get it, he deserves whatever he's going to get in prison. Again, we're all here for
I,
you. There's things that I had no idea about. I didn't realize you guys found out that way either. That's like
yeah,
one of the worst possible thing. I mean, I feel your anger. Ah, wow. Somebody asked, and I wanted to clarify that too. I know Corey's birthday was coming up, and he wrote something in chalk or something, that "Will I die?" or what?
that
What was
was
that?
it was this 5 days before he passed away, when I had the
Okay,
conversation with him after his bath about God. He'd written on
right.
our sidewalk with chalk, I died. And
I
there's a
died.
picture of it. Yeah.
Oh
There's
man,
took a picture of it. The detectives took a picture of it when they came to the house, and it was sad. You know, it's he knew, he
right.
knew,
Well, I'm
and
glad that he had a relationship with God. I'm glad that my mom's like that with my children, and I'm glad that you know, that you introduced him to God and told him and kept that so that he didn't feel, hopefully, so alone. If that means
right,
anything,
right.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's a little
heartbreaking, folks.
comforting. You
It,
know, and I think Bree is grateful, and I'm, you know, that Chris wasn't the last face that Corey had to see as he
yeah,
was,
all of us
you
are,
know,
right.
because how
Well,
horrible would that be, you know, to have to look at the monster that did that to you? I mean, you know,
and
would
yeah,
have been
many
bad.
people. I'll fill you in on this case after when we're done here, folks. For the people that don't have all the questions or answers, but I mean, you got reported hundreds of times. This wasn't like just a thing that happened, folks. If you guys haven't been
Um,
following the case, right? I mean,
and not only Bree, but I was making calls. Her sister, her father, I believe, made a few calls. We were making reports, And
And
it was just when we would make a report, Chris would make one. And so they started acting like we were just using
oh,
them to get back at each other or something,
right.
and it just seemed like every time they went to Chris's parents' house, they always believed them, because, well,
Of
the
course.
highly decorated state trooper could never do anything wrong. He wouldn't lie or anything. So must be us,
Right.
couldn't be them. And it's
Right.
just, I mean, listen, I'm going to call out a couple police departments in my area. They didn't
Right.
listen. And I know the cops can't get involved in certain things,
Domestic.
but
Yeah.
they didn't help. Do you know what I mean?
I
They didn't
do.
help because they let him go when he slashed my tires and they found him 2 blocks away from my house. Oh, nope, wasn't me. And my dad's a highly decorated retired state
Right.
trooper. Okay, go home. You
That
can
was
go home then.
probably that
I
was
mean,
probably the biggest thing. I think that was probably the biggest thing, knowing he probably had some relationship with him. But when it's a child, that's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. I mean,
yeah,
I'm sure, and not to say anything bad, but I'm sure any one of you would sacrifice yourself for Corey. You'd rather him take your life or Bree's life over little Corey that didn't get to live a
oh,
life at
no,
all. Because that's how I
definitely.
feel about my children.
Of course.
You take my life, man. Yeah.
Oh, believe me,
Well,
he wanted to. He just didn't get the opportunity.
Well, now he's going to be, even if he does, let's just say that the judge, for some reason, maybe the judge, I don't know. I was going to say maybe he doesn't have a soul, because if anybody that has a soul sees this and hears all the things, they would give him the max sentence because that's his decision. He can
Well,
give him the
I
max
know,
sentence.
but you have to also think about this. There's the chance to appeal things, and I think the
Yeah,
judge is trying to avoid that, and I get it. I think the judge did. This wasn't an easy case,
right,
and I think he did everything in his power, so far. I think he's, like I said, he's been fair. I don't have
right.
any issues. I think the prosecutors kicked ass in this case. I think they were
They did.
amazing. They were,
Right.
and I love the fact that they were women because Chris doesn't like women too much.
Yes.
He thinks they're beneath him,
Oh, of
and
course.
they
Yeah.
kicked his ass pretty much, and I think he hates that.
Good. Good.
But
I hope he does hate that. He's not going to have any women in prison either. So there's that.
well, yeah, but he doesn't mind.
No, he doesn't mind.
No, because he what's the word I'm looking for? He
He
plays
swings
both
both
sides,
ways.
swings both
He
ways.
swings both
I don't
ways.
know.
There
The
you go.
pitcher, the
Well,
hitter. I don't know how that stuff
yeah.
goes, but he's all
Oh,
of the above. So
he's probably the catcher. He's probably the bottom bitch, in my opinion. And you know what? I hope he bottom bitches for those guys, and they're rough as they can be on him. That's what I wish on Chris. And I know this isn't over yet. It's not over. And he's going to be sentenced. We're going to be there. We're going to say, prayers, put out the best vibes that we can for the max that he can get, and then we're here afterwards. This doesn't end. I know that there's a civil suit coming, and I hope that they're fair with Bree and they understand, because it seems like the news is calling them out hard. I saw some of those
yeah,
interviews now, and I'm like, wow. I was surprised how hard they were calling calling them out.
I know. Well, that's a whole different story. DCP&P. I mean, I don't know. They really they screwed up. They know they did. And it's not the first time they've done this, I'm sure, but I don't think everybody made a big stink over it like Bree did. I don't think everybody created a justice for whomever group when it happened. I think it was quiet and it went away. Bree wasn't
Right,
having that. She wasn't letting that happen. And
right. Well,
the
good.
attorney that she has an attorney for this case, and I've been seeing them on like Facebook and stuff, and I didn't know this, but it's a pretty good group that she's got representing her in that
Yeah,
case. And,
I
you
can
know,
actually pull that up.
they were recommended by a dear, I call him a dear friend. He's a defense attorney,
Right,
that we know, and you don't need to know why we know him. We just know him. And,
right. Yeah, it
you
doesn't.
know, he recommended this attorney, and the guy's been great. He came to our house. You know, Bree never had to go to him. He came to her, and he's just been handling that case. She's not, you know, stressed by that case, you
That's
know,
good. She
so
doesn't need that. She doesn't need any more anything.
no.
I pulled up the Justice for Corey. It's a large group. There's 19,500 members, and they're doing a fantastic job there. I see. It says here, I created this group to fight for justice for my son, Corey Micciolo. He was 6 years old when his life was taken from him by someone who was supposed to care and love for him, his father. We have an army here, and we will not stop fighting until justice is served. And then, there's a lot of outreach here. Bree, my heart goes out to you. Corey is fine now, and several others. Looks like the letter was sent to the judge, and it's been approved and submitted. Justice for Corey. We got the show on tonight, so hopefully some people that are in the group get to see this. So there are a lot of things on this page, and I mean, Bree's doing an amazing job. All you are too. You're backing her. It
You
seems you're
know,
supportive. Really,
and the Justice for Corey group, the members have been, I think, I know I would have went crazy about 8 times if we didn't have these people around us. They have gone above and beyond, so many of them. You know, it's
right,
just, they're like family now. And, you know, after sentencing, is over with, I mean, we're still going to have a relationship with these people. I hope
right.
none of them go away. I hope we're always going to have
Of
them.
course,
And, we're going
yeah.
to fight for another kid, so this doesn't happen to somebody else. So hopefully it doesn't end after sentencing, you know.
Well, and again, I keep saying I'm here, but I'm here. So if you have something you want the attention to be brought to, just shoot me a text and I'm here. We can cover the case. I'm working with the
Thank you.
Madeline Soto. The Madeline Soto advocates call me all the time. And it's not just
Oh,
about
okay.
Madeline Soto, it's other cases in Florida. And we're covering the DCP&P and all these systems that are broken. We're calling them out, and I'm not afraid to call them out. So if you guys need something or want something covered or you need some media attention, I'm
Yeah,
here.
I don't know if you're familiar with
It's
Chris
he.
Chris Cuomo. Do you know who that is
Yeah,
from?
of
What?
course.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
he was going to take DCP&P down, but he got quiet all of a sudden. I don't know if Karen Reed, that case got him
Interesting.
preoccupied, but he kind of forgot about us.
Oh,
You know?
wow.
Yeah, he hasn't said much. Haven't heard a peep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm working with somebody in Florida right now, and DCP&P, they subcontract and contract out a bunch of the divisions to people that have backgrounds with like let's say like we'll call them chomo backgrounds and abusive backgrounds, so they're not doing good checks on them, and that's why a lot of this is happening. So maybe in the future after
Right.
this stuff is done we can talk about that, because I am going to work on that. It doesn't matter what state it's in, it just matters that we're calling them out and getting some attention.
Right.
So I do have a lot of
Yeah. I
information on that.
think I think in every state, whether it's DCP&P, I don't know, every state calls them something different.
Yeah,
I think there's
CPS
room
is
for
here.
improvement. And yeah,
Yeah,
in every state, there's room for improvement.
right.
Definitely. I think they need to, I don't know, they should train them. They should have to go through training every couple of months. I mean, these people, I don't know. I don't know how they could screw up so bad. Maybe they just don't like their job and it's just a paycheck, but they screw
Well,
up all the time.
here's the thing is I have a lot of information on them, and the thing is they're contracting it out and they're not doing background checks on these people, and then they're underpaying them. There's a lot of corruption going on with how they're doing it. They shouldn't even be subcontracting, first of all, and they should be doing background checks. There's a whole bunch of things that are broken, and we can fix a little bit at a time. There are other cases in your area too that I want to focus on that I've had people reach out to me about. So I'm in it. If you need anything too, I'm here. So,
Thank
you
you.
know, just
I
one
should
step
get
at a
off the
time.
phone for now, but
Okay.
um,
Yes.
anyway,
222.
I appreciate
Prayer
you
is
and everyone else who has given Corey's case attention. I appreciate all of you. It's this is the only way to fix things is get the word out, and you guys make that happen. So thank you.
You're welcome. Prayers for the family, and I will see you all on August 2nd. And yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm covering it. So you take care, drive safe, and we'll talk soon.
great.
All right,
Thank
everyone.
you.
We all love you. Goodbye. All
Bye.
right.
Guilty of
I
crime.
want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?